I am gravely concerned with the news that broke on Friday relevant to the civil settlement in this case. But by my count, this is the third highly prejudicial and incredibly prejudicial press leak or press release that has very suspicious timing, to say the least, and has an incredible propensity to taint a jury pool. One thing I think the court should strongly consider is a request for a continuance, Your Honor, and a renewal of our change of venue motion. The fact that this came in the exact middle of jury selection, it's perplexing to me, Your Honor, that whose idea it was to release this information when it was released. When we have jurors in the courtroom, we have jurors seated in this case, and we have 7 more jurors to potentially find.
With respect to the actual news of the $27 million settlement, all I can say to the court is there are some things that the state of Minnesota and this prosecution team can control, and there's some things that the state cannot and does not control. We can control the witnesses we call, we can control the evidence that we bring in, we can control the motions, but we cannot and do not control the civil aspect of the case. We cannot and do not control the Minneapolis City Council, and we certainly cannot and do not control the news cycle. Through the process of jury selection, what we've seen here, Your Honor, is that while individual jurors have been exposed to media in the case, and they certainly have, the jurors that we've seated have expressed that they can set anything that they've learned outside of the courtroom aside and judge the case based on the evidence. And there's no reason to believe that our future prospective jurors, who we're going to be questioning later today, won't be in the exact same position.
You would agree it's unfortunate, wouldn't you?
That it's unfortunate?
That we have this reported all over the media when we're in the midst of jury selection as far as timing.
Yeah, it's certainly not my preference, Your Honor. I don't even know which way that cuts. If that cuts for us, if that cuts against us. You know, some jurors
The problem is it cuts.
What's that?
The problem is it cuts.
Yeah.
That's the concern, and I think the defense has a legitimate concern. I think the state even has a concern.
Absolutely. It would be our strong preference that we'd be trying this case in a vacuum with no pretrial publicity. It certainly would. It would make things a lot less complicated. I would oppose any extra strikes at this point as being premature. I wouldn't be surprised if the jurors we questioned don't pay as much attention to us as we think they do and don't know about the settlement. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But I think that that's something that we should take up with individual questioning. Let's wait till we have a problem before we start thinking about a solution.
Yeah, there's been, I think, what has to be characterized as prejudicial pretrial publicity, not just about this, but on other matters that we've tried to dance around, or I've tried to dance around with the jurors. And I'll do the same, and I might even be a little more specific and talk about, or have you read anything about any pending civil litigation? And so I don't think it's appropriate for extra strikes, because if they have read something that makes it that they cannot put that aside, I think it's more a matter of more likely a challenge for cause. So I'm actually going to deny the motion for extra strikes. I'm going to grant the motion that at some point, probably after we are finished selecting, that we call back the 7 to see if there's been any, if they've read anything and if it changes their minds about whether they can be fair and impartial. I think the defense is entitled to that, and I wish people would, city officials would stop talking about this case so much. But at the same time, I don't find any evil intent that they are trying to tamper with this criminal case.
We've got a mayor who's a lawyer by trade. He should know better, Your Honor. And obviously, Mr. Ellison's son is a city council member. And I'm not accusing Mr. Ellison of anything. I just want to make that very clear. But it is, it is profoundly disturbing to the defense, because ultimately the goal of this system is to provide a fair trial. And
Agreed.
This is not fair.
Like I say, I think it is unfortunate. We're going to continue to proceed for now. I am taking your motion for a continuance of the trial date under advisement, however.